Hello, my name is Paul Dowich. I'm one of the guidance counselors here at Troy High School, and this is our annual College Credit Plus presentation. Obviously, normally we would do this in an auditorium. All of you would be invited in, but we can't secure safe social distancing for everyone, so we're just going to do it via video. All papers and anything that I talk about is going to be located on the website right where you're finding this video right now. The most important paper that we're going to talk about is the THS counseling sheet, and you're going to get a picture of it up on your screen here in a couple minutes. But that one kind of encapsulates everything that we're talking about. It is a requirement from the state that you at least hear these items. The big parts in there are, because when people talk about College Credit Plus like it's free college, it is to a certain degree. If your student does not pass the course, then it is not free. That's one of those things that you have to pay back. There are some things, some classes that cannot be taken by your student. I'll get into those in a little bit. If your student, and this is how we're broken up here at the high school, if you look on the screen, obviously you can see our letter groups. If your child's last name begins A through F, Mr. Metz is your student's counselor. If you're G through O, Mrs. Evilsizer. P through Z is Mr. Gibbons. I work mainly with Career Center students, and yes, we do have usually 15 to 20 students at the Career Center, depending on their career program, will be involved in College Credit Plus. It sits right next to Edison. Edison is our biggest group, or biggest higher education institution that we use. We have classes here in the building from them, and I'll touch on those a little bit as well. The best way to get a hold of them, those counselors, are using the email addresses that you see on the screen. So what you should be seeing now is the counseling sheet. That's the one I alluded to earlier. There is a due date on it. What has changed from last year, actually 2 years ago now, because of COVID, the state's allowing you as the parent or guardian up until the 1st of May to submit documentation or let your child's counselor know that they want to participate in this program. That's good because you get a little extra time to think, and we are going to be scheduling later than we normally would this year. But I would caution you, if you delay till the 1st of May, to make that decision. If your child wants to take courses off the Troy High School campus, some of those courses might be filled up. Alrighty? There is some testing that is involved that will be done in usually April, and that is done by the institution. So if your child wanted to go to Sinclair, they might have a certain test for the student to take there as opposed to Edison, or if they wanted to take something at Clark State, along those lines. Alrighty, so let's go through this. This is going to be pretty straightforward. This is not a huge entertaining video. It's just more informative. All right, so what is College Credit Plus? We use the acronym CCP. It's just students can earn high school and college credit at the same time. Students can enroll in college courses and adhere to the requirements of the college. So what we caution students and parents, if your child's taking a College Credit Plus course, it is a college course. There's going to be differences in that course. All right, when can they sign up? So it's really grades 7 through 12. But you have to do an assessment exam, and that will determine if you're eligible for the College Credit Plus program. You may apply at a public college or participating private college, and you can do multiple institutions. We have seen over the years, we have students that might start with one Institute of Higher Learning. They start there, and then they realize their senior year, so I'm going here for my college, and they switch to that one. So that is a possibility. The variety of college level courses that your student or child can take, that's going to be based on placement testing, and this is obvious, but you have to be an Ohio resident. Alrighty. Now, this is how all this works out kind of mathematically. For students grades 7 through 12, you can earn the credit to satisfy both high school and college requirements. 1, 3, 4, or 5, it's called 3 plus, 3, 4, or 5 credit hour course, college course equals 1 high school unit. That gets a little tricky to keep in mind when you're making your schedule. Your child may take a 3-hour English course from Edison like here, like a Comp 121. That's going to count as 1 full year of English. If you recall to the freshman meetings, the graduation requirements are 4 years of English. So your child might in 2 years, or in 1 year, earn 2 years worth of English credit. That's something that the counselor, your high school counselor, will be able to go over with your child when they meet. All right, you have to successfully complete the course in order to earn the credit. That's pretty obvious. Alrighty, for the courses themselves, you can take classes during the summer, which is new. If you had somebody that went through under the old program called PSEOP, there were no courses offered in the summer. That has now changed. So your child may take courses in the summer. In honesty, we usually have 25 to 30 students that will take classes in the summer. That's really geared towards students who might not be working a really big job, summer job, or might not have a fall sport, all right, because those times kind of go through quickly. Now, we do offer courses here at the high school, College Credit Plus courses, and it says see handout for THS offered classes. There is a link next to where you just found this one that's going to list all the courses that we have. We update that as we go through. We have a large number of English courses. We have some higher level science courses, higher level math courses, some higher level social studies courses that are in there. Plus we have some business and speech as well. The question that comes up is, why would my student want to stay and take courses at the high school? The big reason is college courses, and I know we're just coming through and right now in the middle of COVID, college courses can kind of be looked at as hybrid. Your student might only have to be there Tuesday and Thursday for 90 minutes if they're off campus. If they're taking them at the high school, a normal year, obviously, would be Monday through Friday, 45 or 50 minutes a day of instruction in that course. And the big difference is when you're taking a college course from a college professor, that professor is good at what they're doing for that course. High school teachers are taught kind of how to teach. All right? Alrighty, so the COVID adjustment. Colleges may use, this is how a student can participate. For the COVID-19 adjustment, the minimum unweighted GPA of 3.0. So colleges can give the exam. They can also default back to the GPA of 3.0. All right, that is unique to each institution, but the 3.0 GPA is being carried through. It was introduced last spring because of COVID-19, and it's being carried through for one more full year. All right, now the steps to participate. Step one, first you must be eligible for the College Credit Plus participation based on assessment exam scores. All right, so if they're taking an Accuplacer, that Accuplacer is going to tell you what your child can take. All right. The exams or the assessments can be an ACT, SAT, Accuplacer, which I just mentioned, but each college or university has different exam requirements, so you just have to look into what they're doing. Obviously, Edison represents about 90–95% of where our students go for classes because we offer so many here. Theirs is the Accuplacer. But if you're moving into our district, if you're brand new and you're bringing ACT or SAT or any of the ones that you see on the screen right now, we can submit those as well. Now, your child must score, the score must indicate that they're ready for college level courses. The college and the universities will review student scores using statewide standards. So that's just saying they're using a certain score number. All right, if a student's score is not college level, other conditions may be considered depending on the exam scores, and if the student has a 3.0. All righty. If you see on the screen, this is something for other than COVID, which would be a recommendation. We here at the high school, you're going to be allowed to use that 3.0, but at the high school, if your child really is not doing B level or 3.0 type level work in high school courses, they may want to, for their own benefit, wait a little bit. So as kind of a general rule, as the counselors, we're not going to want to put your child in a position of not passing a course, so we refrain from the recommendation form or letter. All right, step two. You must apply for admission, so that's obvious. So you do the test, then you apply for admission. The easiest way to do this, because this is a statewide program, is to go to the college or university website, and you'll normally see a little search bar in the upper right-hand corner. Just type in CCP. If you know your child's going to take Edison courses, theirs is really easy to use. You can go directly, and we're going to have it linked, obviously, next to this presentation. You click on it, and it gives you a nice step-by-step process of what you should be doing, and the application is online. All right. Please understand, though, the colleges will have the final decision on student admission, so that's always up to them at the end. All right, step three. If the student is considered eligible and has been admitted to the college university, then the college will discuss course options with the student. All right, that'll be based on the testing and your grades. Now, for the vast majority of students here at Troy High School, since the vast majority will be taking courses in the high school itself, that's pretty easy to do with the high school counselor. If they're going to be moving from English 10 into Comp 1 and taking it here at the high school, that's a pretty straightforward issue to work through. If they're going to take something off campus, that's when they want to meet with their college advisor at that institute. All right. Now, what courses can a student take? All right, courses can satisfy high school graduation requirements like math, English, science, social studies. The school counselors will help your student understand requirements and course substitutions. Schools might have additional requirements in addition to state minimum. If you just look at our plans for learning, you'll see which 21 credits your child has to take in order to graduate from high school. It's pretty standard across the state of Ohio. So if you are a move-in, somebody brand new to our district, it's going to be pretty straightforward. Your high school, your child's high school council will be able to take care of that. All right. College advisors will also help students know which courses they can take, because there are some things called Level 1 and Level 2. There are some prerequisites, and there are some classes that an assessment score has to indicate that they're ready for. So just having a 3.0, for example, in algebra and geometry does not qualify a student to take, Calc 221. That's just not going to happen. So the course prerequisites are a big one, and the Level 1 and Level 2. So 99% of the colleges that we deal with will have posted on their website next to their CCP their Level 1 courses, which have to be done. There has to be 15 hours done in that one before they can move on. All right, speaking of which, so Level 1 courses, first 15 hours, those are transferable courses. They can have courses in IT, computer science, anatomy, physiology, foreign language. Courses can also be part of a technical certificate. And then you also have a pathway that can go through with that. Okay, the courses in study skills, academic, and career success. All right, moving on. Once a student completes the first 15 credit hours in Level 1, they can move on to Level 2 courses, which are any other allowable college course for which a student meets the prerequisites. Now, what courses can a student take? Non-allowable courses include a private course with one-on-one instruction. All right, we rarely run into these, but they are here. Courses with high fees. So if you have a student that wants to take a course and the fees are going to be in the multiple hundreds, that is a course that will not be covered. Study abroad courses, obviously, we're not going to foot the bill for you to go to Europe. Physical education courses do not count. Courses that are pass, fail do not count. And remedial courses are religious courses. So we do have students that take classes at other private schools, private universities. The religious courses there will not count. As a rule of thumb, if it's the study of or history of, we always look at those on an individual basis. All right. Remedial courses, if you see a double O in front of it, that's not going to be covered because that is basically a high school course. All right. Grades. College Credit Plus grades earned in the college course and the same grade that will be on the high school transcript. Grades will be factored into the high school and college GPA. So in a sense, your child's going to have a transcript from the university with its own GPA. Then they're going to have those courses transferred back to the high school GPA as well. Please keep in mind, since these are doubled, if you remember from the very beginning of this presentation, if you have a course that's really going to be, if you have one student who's taking, let's say, American history, they're going to get a half credit at semester time. If you're taking Comp 1 in the first semester, that's going to be like taking 2 classes. So that will have an effect, either positive or negative, depending on the grade, on your child's GPA. All right. If a high school uses a weighted grading scale for advanced placement, international baccalaureate honors, then we have to use that for some of the CCP courses. And we do. Troy High School does. So you will notice on the little insert or the extra piece that I mentioned before, the Troy High School courses, you will see them identified or indicated as weighted. So in reality, if we offer a weighted course, for example, in chemistry, which we do, then we have to have a weighted course or offer the College Credit Plus component one as weighted as well. All right. Students may take, we get this question every once in a while, the courses, and I use English as an easy one, we have the math here as well, they can be used for the graduation requirement. All right. Now, end of course exams. Students must complete end of course exams in English, math, and science. Those are the tests that your child will take in April, and as of right now, the state of Ohio is still rolling down that path of taking tests and everyone come in and do so. All right, how many classes can students take? You can be enrolled up to 30 semester credit hours per year, including high school courses. You're going to see on the screen just a small little math problem. You get 30, you subtract high school credits times 3, and then that equals your maximum CCP hours. So if you were, we'll make the math real easy. So if you start out and you have 30 hours and your child takes only one course here at Troy High School, that 1 times 3, they're going to have 27 hours. We do have a form that we use with each student. We do, to be completely honest, we do have students go up to that limit and sometimes over it, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But one thing to keep in the back of your mind, if your child is going to take classes in the summer, those hours come off the next year's 30 hours, okay? So if they're a junior rolling into their senior year or sophomore rolling into their junior year and they choose to take classes in the summer, those will be subtracted out, so they're starting off with a lesser number of courses. Some of the courses we offer here, when you see anything that says 5 hours, and we do have some fantastic math courses here and physics courses, each semester some of those courses are 5 hours. So if you take a physics and a calculus course that's 5 hours each in the first semester, there's 10. There's 1/3 of your hours taken right away. There's a maximum of 120 hours. We get kids close to that sometimes, but not normally. All right, if a student, let's say your student does enroll in more than 30 credit hours, here's the thing that can happen. The school will discuss with the student whether to drop the course or pay for the entire course. Here's where it gets kind of bizarre for parents. If your child takes 31 hours, so they're 1 hour over that 30, the school then, the Institute of Higher Education, wherever they're taking the course, is not going to charge them for 1 additional hour. They're going to charge them for the class that pushes them over that 30. So if it's a 5-hour course that pushes them over the 30, you're not paying 1 hour, you're paying 5. And if you look at the screen, obviously you are, if you look at the screen there, it's the standard rate. So it's going to be whatever their cost is times 5, okay? All right, tests. What's the difference between high school and college? It comes really down to the test. The question we get a lot from parents is how come they have so few grades compared to a high school course? It's because a lot of a lot of college grades are based on tests or projects. All right. In high school, tests are sometimes given weekly or at the end of a chapter. College tests are generally fewer in number, covering more material. The study time is another one that pops out. High school work usually requires 1 to 3 hours per week. The standard rule for college is of 2 to 3 hours of homework per every hour spent in class, 3 to 5 hours per day. So you have a bigger amount of time that needs to be spent on these courses. Knowledge acquisition, high school, the information provided mostly in class, out-of-class research is minimal. College, the coursework will generally require more independent thinking, longer written assignments, and out-of-class research. All right, good example with the writing assignments. We get this a lot. We'll have students that will take a course, for example, psychology, and they'll take it their junior year. If that psychology course requires them to write a paper in APA style and they have not gotten to it yet, that's going to cause additional work time for that student to be able to research how to write a proper paper for a psychology class. So when we do these things, and the counselors will do this individually with your child, you need to look logically at how fast and how quickly they should be moving through some of these College Credit Plus courses, because they can get ahead of themselves on some specifics. All right, grades. High school, I mentioned this before, numerous quizzes, tests, homework assignments. College is just going to be fewer. So you're putting a lot of your eggs in one basket with that. All right, another difference, parent role. High school parents, we know you're strong advocates. You work close with teachers and counselors. For college, though, college views the student as an independent decision maker. So the parent serves more as a mentor. You kind of take a back seat. And there is a rule called FERPA. That's the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, protects student educational records. So depending on the university, parents, you might not have direct access, or you might have just limited access to what your child is actually doing at that university, which can kind of be freaky, to be honest with you. What are the benefits of participating in College Credit Plus? Mentioned this before, you can earn high school and college credits at the same time, and you can get a head start on college degrees or certificates. All right, students can experience college early to understand the expectations of college life, and students can save on tuition and textbook costs. Now, what are the problems or what are the consequences for underperforming? All righty, if a student fails or withdraws too late from a college course, the district will seek reimbursement for tuition costs from the student and family. I mentioned this right off the bat. If your child is taking a course, they do not pass it, there's multiple problems with that. All right, the biggest one is going to be the cost, followed by the fact that they now have a failing grade on their transcript. All righty, if they choose to drop a course after the drop date, and this is where the onus is a little bit more on the student because they're stepping into an adult world as a college student, they need to pay attention to the drop dates from that university. We have all of our students, like I said, 90% are going to Edison. That other 10% are spread out from Toledo down to Cedarville to other places, Sinclair and a few other areas in between. So it's up to the student to take a look at that drop date. All right. And I mentioned this, grades that students earn are on the student's college transcript permanently. If a student fails, withdraws, often the future financial aid may also be impacted negatively. You need to talk to the college that your child's going to be going to for financial aid. Alrighty, other issues. If a student performs poorly, they may be placed CCP probation, CCP dismissal, or on academic probation or dismissal by the college. Maturity plays a big role in this. When we discuss maturity with the students, it's more along the lines of, are you disciplined enough to realize that you have an assignment due 3 weeks from now and not wait till hours before, try and complete it, and then have issues submitting it. All right, that becomes a problem with some students where they wait till the last minute and then there's an issue with their computer, their internet, and they can't upload it. If they would have done it in a timely fashion, that would not have been a problem. So that's usually the biggest one. The next one would be 2 students taking the same class but with 2 different professors. One professor may require things turned in every Sunday night. Another professor might be every Monday morning. And the students talk to each other and then they don't read their syllabus and one assumes the other, and then that causes problems as well. All right, college credit plus probation. A student would be placed on CCP probation if he or she earns a 2.0 GPA or less in a CCP course or withdraws from 2 or more courses in the academic term. While on CCP probation, the student, so if you're on probation, may only enroll in 1 college credit plus course for 1 college term. All right, semester or quarter, and we're all semesters. May not enroll in the college course in the same subject in which the student previously earned a D or F or received no credit. So for example, let's say they failed Comp 121, which is really bad to do, and I'll explain that in a minute, of all the courses to fail. Now they're on probation. They only can take 1 course, and it cannot be any type of English course, okay? What also, you have to kind of look at this mathematically. If they would fail a 5-hour course and the only thing they can do is take a 3-hour course, the math is not in their favor of getting their GPA back up above that 2.0. All right? College credit plus dismissal. Students on CCP probation do not increase their college credit plus GPA to a 2.0 or above during the probation term. They'll be placed on dismissal. While on dismissal, students may not enroll in any college credit plus courses. This kind of is for their own safety financially and for their future GPA and their college prospects. All right, there is an appeals. After 1 college term on CCP dismissal, students may submit an appeal to request the high school or middle school, because remember we can do 7 through 12, to allow participation in College Credit Plus. Each school must have a policy describing the process for appeals. We have a thing called the Troy High School Plans for Learning. If you log on to the guidance website, at the very back end of it, we have an appendix that has our policy and procedures there, plus the paperwork you would need to fill out. All right. In reality, if your child has gotten themselves in that position, you have to think really long and hard. You want to continue forward doing this in a high school setting. All right. All right, what are the expenses for College Credit Plus? At public universities, colleges, or universities, there will be no cost to the students' families for tuition, required fees, and books. At private colleges or universities, a small cost per credit hour may be charged. So you have to be aware of that if you're going to a private university. The books, most of the time we're working with Edison, the books get turned back into Edison. If your child's going to Sinclair or Cedarville, those books then are purchased, reimbursed by us, depending on how you purchase the book. But then once it's reimbursed at the end of that semester, that book has to be returned to us in guidance, all right, or it'll be charged. All righty. Some optional expenses are the responsibility of the student parent, parking, transportation. There's no bus that runs to Edison from Troy High School or to wherever. What are the support services? The high school counselors continue to provide assistance to all College Credit Plus students. College advisors provide course selection assistance. Colleges must provide the same academic supports to CCP students as they do other students. We have a great working relationship with Edison because, once again, that's 90%. We have an Edison representative, a counselor who comes down to the building and will be in the building at set times. We publish those times and dates for students, so if they're not in the building or even if they're in the high school, they can come and meet with her in the guidance office to set up their schedule. All right. If they're scheduling all of their CCP courses through the high school, that's pretty easy because you're just using your regular high school guidance counselor for that. My suggestion, because we run into probably 4 or 5 of these students every year, if you have a child that is trying to get their associate's degree, or they're like, hey, I really love Edison and I'm going to continue and get my associate's degree at Edison after high school, those types of students we will normally defer to the college, to Edison, because they'll have better information on the process and their pathway to earn that degree. Alrighty. All right, athletic eligibility. This is kind of tricky. The CCP courses, they do conform to the OHSAA. Summer courses for CCP do not count or help a student for the fall. So for example, let's say your child fails, they're supposed to pass 5 credit courses at the end of a quarter to be eligible for the next quarter. Let's say they don't do that and they want to take some CCP courses in the summer. That will not help them become eligible in the fall. That ship has sailed. So if they're ineligible from the quarter before, if they don't reach that 5, there's nothing in the summer that can help. All right. This is something, though, that you really need to keep in the back of your head when you're dealing with CCP courses. So if a student comes in and meets with their counselor, let's say they're going to take 3 high school courses. It could be whatever. Let's say they're taking math, science, and social studies. So there's 3. You need 5. You need to be passing 5 at the quarter to be eligible. So there's 3. And let's say they want to do Comp 121 or composition at the high school, a CCP course. I mentioned earlier that these courses are double credit. So the math, the science, and the social studies, that's going to be 3, and that English course is going to count twice, so that's going to be 4 and 5. The problem with that is if you fail any course, you're automatically ineligible. All right? So let's say you're like, okay, what I'm going to do is take a music course as well. So now you've got math, science, social studies, music, there's 4 courses, and then you're taking Comp 1, or you're taking another CCP course that doubles. So now you're going, well, I've got 6, so I've got an area where if I mess something up, I'm not going to be messed up eligibility-wise. Okay, that's kind of true unless you fail that CCP course. Since that works double, now instead of taking out 1 credit, you're taking out 2. So you go right back down to 4 credits. So this is something that you need to talk to your child about. If they're an athlete and they're struggling, they want to make sure they have something built into their schedule so they're not automatically making themselves ineligible. All right, will the course credits transfer? This is the big part. Certain general education and technical courses will transfer, especially from one Ohio public college to another. Students must check with colleges to confirm transferability. Good word. Students should check, and on your website or on the screen right now is the transfer credit website where they can link to that. You also want to discuss with the counselors from the school that you're taking your College Credit Plus courses from, and if you know, if you're a senior, you know where you're going, you want to provide that information to those counselors as well so you know where you're at when you're starting your first year, your freshman year. What does being college ready mean? College ready is more than just being academically ready. Consider emotional and social transition and college expectations. That's highlighted because we run into this about every 2 to 3 years. If you're going to be off campus, you're going to be sitting in a classroom, obviously not this last year because of COVID, but you're normally going to be sitting in a classroom with students that might be 21, 22 years old or older coming back. That's a discussion you have to have with your student. Are they comfortable sitting in a classroom where they're 16 years old wearing their varsity jacket and they're surrounded by kids that are in their 20s or young adults? That's normally the big issue that we have. And sometimes topics come up based on the course they're taking, which makes some students uncomfortable if they're very young, 16, 17 years old. Sometimes those things are an issue. But that's a discussion you have to have with your child. Alrighty, grades earned in a College Credit Plus course are for the high school college credit. We calculate the GPA. That's all been spoken about before. All right, COVID-19 adjustment. I mentioned this earlier. This is our May 1 deadline, but I'm asking you to try not to delay till May 1. When this is published and you watch this, that counseling sheet that is sitting right next to you, hyperlink, print that baby off, sign it, you sign it, your child signs it, and they bring it in the next day to their counselor. That will start the process. Alrighty? Alrighty, what are the deadlines? We don't publish deadlines here because each college university can have a different admission deadline. We work hand in glove with Edison, obviously, so we try and get all those things to them and done as early as possible, so April and May. That doesn't mean we can't have things happen later on in the summer. The goal is to have 99.9% of everything done in that April range. If your child wants to, if you're sitting there with a sophomore, or a junior, and they're like, yes, I want to take a class in the summer, then you want to get your paperwork into us as fast as possible. Summer courses are pretty popular for older students who've graduated from high school, just to get things done, so they fill up quickly. All right, if you have other questions, there's the website there, the highered.org/CCP. All right, CCP at Troy, I'll touch on this because I've talked about it briefly. It's over 10 credits, or it's at 10 credits via Indiana University. So at Troy High School, we have courses that are sponsored by Edison. So you're taking courses here. We'll use comp because that's the easy one. So you have comp 121. Take it here, or you take it at Edison. Taking it here at the high school, it's the same credit as it would be taking it, at Edison. There's a handout that I mentioned before with all this information on it, the specific ones. Now, I point out specifically that comp, English 121. If your child is going to be moving into that area for College Credit Plus English, 121 has to be taken and passed before they can take any other courses beyond it. Alrighty, so that's why it's called the Gateway English course. We have a plethora of English courses available, but your child has to take that one first, pass it before they can move on to the second course, all right, or the other options that they have. So they can take Comp 1 and then take Comp 2 the second semester, or Comp 1 then American Lit, any types of combinations, but that one has to be passed first. There are also two other courses, and they're called Advanced College Project. They're from Indiana University East. They're from Indiana University. One's an ACP Chem, the other one's an ACP Bio. You can see the requirements there. They are 5 college credits, alrighty? So if your child wants to take those courses, their requirements to get in are a little bit different than they are for an Edison course because they're coming from Indiana. And I have it there. ACP is Hoosier speak for CCP. All 50 states are supposed to have something like CCP. You can name it whatever you want depending on the state you're in. But those are our two options there, alrighty? There are some prerequisites and things that are in our plans for learning that get updated, some math prerequisites for each one of those. To get into the course, though, you have to have a minimum GPA of 2.7 or higher, take a college prep curriculum, and should be considered likely to succeed in the course or counseled against enrolling for credit. So you want to be ready to take that one. So here we go, in summation. All right, I left the April 1st up in there, but inform your counselor by April 1st of your intent to participate in CCP. I'm saying April 1st so we can get the ball rolling as quickly as possible. Complete the counselor form and return by May 1st. That is the one that I talked about, and that was one of the first 2 or 3 slides that we had on this presentation. Please get that in. Do not wait till May 1st because we'll be scheduling before May 1st, hopefully, and we need that information in a timely fashion. So if they can get it back to us as rapidly as possible, that would be great. Then you're going to contact the IHE to set up any testing, etc. So you're going to contact, we'll use just a regular student from high school, Troy High School. Let's say they want to take classes at Edison, or they want to take the Edison courses here in the building. Then you just you turn the form in, you contact Edison about testing, you set that up. Then you have to set up an orientation. We submit the transcripts. You're going to be accepted there at the university. Then we're going to work on the schedule. And I have it broken up number 7 and number 8, but it's kind of a combination that we go back and forth. Like I said, it is easier, way easier for students to schedule classes here at the high school, CCP courses, than to schedule them at Edison. Because what will happen, and this happens every year, we do not create a schedule for Edison. We know when our courses will be offered here. If your child's like, yeah, I'm going to take CCP English at Troy first period, and then I'm going to leave for second, third, and fourth, and then come back. That looks good on paper, but if that course that we're going to offer here does not get offered in first period and gets offered somewhere else, now they've got 2 schedules that they have to change. Alrighty? So, one last time, what you want to do if your child's interested in this, fill out the form, the counseling form, have them bring it in. You saw the email addresses at the beginning for your letter group. If you have questions, you can always email. I know this is not the easiest way of doing this. Normally we would take questions for about 30 minutes after, but this is about the best we can do in the circumstances that we have. At the end of the day, you can call your child's counselor. You can have your child come in and sit down. That would probably be the preferable thing, the email, or have them come in and say, hey, when do you have time to talk about this? I want to work through this and see if I'm even eligible or if this is a good idea for me. Alrighty, I just want to say thank you for your time. and we will see you later.